Reusse Unchained, presented by Josh Arnold, investment consultant, Mr. Money Talk. Michael Phelps style. Reusse already took a dip in the pool this morning on this Friday, ready to go.
You know, I couldn't wake up. I was just grogging around, not getting ready to start doing stuff. And all those thousands and thousands of dollars I put into this money pit, at least it woke me up this morning when I jumped in the pool and paddled around for about 10 minutes. It was great. Gets my knees a little loose, and it's a coolish morning too, so that'll really wake you up, you know. But I keep it at 85. I don't care. I can. And unfortunately, after those cool nights, you come out and you see that money going up in the air. You know, that steam.
The steam, yeah.
It's the gas bill, but who cares? You know, it's only money. So anyway, I'm ready to go now. Let's go Mets.
So how hot can you turn it into a hot tub? How hot can you crank that thing?
Oh God, you could put it in the 90s if you wanted to, but there's a lot of gallons in there, so it's not like a whirlpool, you know. So, but yeah, it's actually there's been years when I ran it hotter than that, but I just decided, well, put it at 85 and just leave it there, and that seems to work. So it's good enough. It's good, but now I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right. Yeah,
So,
what do you want to get into? Do you want to dissect the third Vikings preseason game in which Matt Corral might play a chunk of the second half?
Yeah, it is, to me, I think there's a class action lawsuit to be had here, that they go and use all their regular players when they're practicing and nobody can watch it. And then when they play a game and charge people, they don't get to see anybody. There's something wrong with that system, isn't there? It's ridiculous that they won't. Why does the Browns and them do what they did on Friday instead of what they did on Thursday? I don't get it.
Well, they can't control it as much.
Couldn't preseason games be that? Like, couldn't you say, all right, instead of a 3-hour formatted game, we're going to it'll be a 3-hour practice, but it'll be at the actual stadium, either US Bank Stadium.
Yeah, it would be better. You could see everybody, and but then you couldn't use your secret stuff right now. But the media is allowed to watch these, aren't they? And do they let fans in or not?
To the joints, yes.
To the joints, they do.
Yes,
Okay.
they do. They do. But filmed, it does not circulate to the entire league. And to your point, from a preseason game, it does. So
and we also ask people not to put anything on their cell phones when they're in there.
We try.
Is that right?
It doesn't work, but we try. God knows we've tried.
We tried that.
Ushers are out there. Please don't film. I literally have a guy pleading. Please don't film.
The only thing I'd like to see, which they haven't showed us yet, is what they're going to do on kickoffs. The most curious thing to me entering the season is, what is this going to be? I mean, it's going to be an alternate universe for a guy like me. I watched Canada. If I watched the Canadian game the other day, the first play, the guy brings it back 104. You know, that's what I want. And, you know, they don't get killed. I just think this is this phony thing about how you're going to avoid 4 injuries a year to not have kickoffs, to pretend like you really care about these guys who are drooling on themselves when they're 50 years old is BS. But it's I don't know. It's certainly going to be a conversation point when we try to figure out how many penalties are going to get called for the guy who leaves the 42 steps early.
We saw 2.
Like we already have seen
last weekend. Yeah, the Vikings had 2. In fact, I think Phil's guy Bo Richter had both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he jumped.
He's not a special teams guy. He's an elite edge rusher. That's what.
Did we ever name him Mr. Mankato, by the way?
So after this final game, this is the official committee right here.
Even though training camp ended last week, so you're.
But you get the preseason games do count toward the the stock. So we're gonna let the third and fourth stringers play out the last preseason game, and then we've been doing updates and power rankings. And then we'll put out 4 finalists for the fans to vote on Twitter sometime, I would guess, next week.
It doesn't have to be a rookie, though, right? It can be Tristan Jackson, can it? It's somebody like that.
Yep, it can be. So it's third round pick or later, or it's never played 100 snaps in a single season.
100 snap. Oh man, that's so you guys, you give yourself some leeway here to name.
Jalen Naylor is still qualified, so yeah.
Oh really? Okay, yeah, but you don't want a guy like that. That's he's too. Even though he's not terribly well known, he's too well known to be Mr. Mankato.
Yeah, Judd.
Yeah,
Yeah, Judd. I mean, Judd stumped for
I
him
took him.
and took him number one
I
in the
took him.
Mr. Mankato draft.
I
So
took him.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I know if I know who the guy is, you.
Well, you would come on my show and tell me
You,
that.
you shouldn't.
no,
If-
this is
if I-
Reusse Unchained. Reusse
If-
Unchained.
Good point.
If I know who the guy is, he shouldn't be eligible to be Mr. Mankato. That should be the rule. Who the heck? Of course, I didn't know who he was until I asked Judd yesterday. Who's this Tristan Jackson?
But now you knew. So
Yeah,
I would say right now, anecdotally, so we can debate Jalen Naylor's qualifications, but Tristan Jackson, Levi Drake Rodriguez, the 7th round pick with the face paint, Bo Richter has flashed. So there's some Dwight McLaughlin. He's definitely in the mix.
Okay, all right. Now, has there been, have we ever had a Mr. Mankato who then got cut like 2 days later? Have we had that or not?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's happened. To go look at the
Yeah.
list, but yeah.
Yeah,
I don't remember anymore.
Yes. I bet how many people are curious that it's still called Mr. Mankato because they don't remember Mankato is probably.
You know, we broached changing the name, but enough people sort of remember the legacy. So it's Mr. Mankato, and then if you wanted like a sub headline or subtitle of the Egan Everyman or the TCO, what was it?
No, Mr. Mankato.
Mr. TCO.
Yeah.
It's got alliteration. It's got the whole thing. So yeah. And sponsored by Metlers, you should have. Like, you know,
Yeah.
Do a podcast
in memory,
from Metlers.
In memory of Metlers, yes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Hey, it's Amanda.
What
Hey,
was the
now
bar?
who's Mr. Mankato?
When
What
I
was the
did
bar you
my,
guys used to be at?
What?
Boomtown?
Boomtown.
Boomtown. Yeah, but now it's Johnny B's is the
Johnny
B's.
joint down there. I went to when did I go? I was down there a while back. I went to Johnny B's for something. What was I down there for? I can't remember.
The beef sandwich, probably. You just drove 2 hours.
No, I was killing some time before I went to see somebody, but I can't remember what it was. You know.
My favorite part about Boomtown, and then they renamed it Bradley's at one point,
Yeah,
was
that wasn't gonna work.
there were more of those like 2-sided fly traps than people usually inside.
Well, in Boomtown,
We put 'em up.
You know, when Johnny owned Boomtown, it was a going concern, man, because wasn't. I mean, Johnny and he's part of the Tice crowd. You know, the guy who owns Jody. He's a Tice's like they had pictures of Tice up in the place. Tice's got his picture in several bars in town. I stopped at Bunny's the other day, gangbusters at lunchtime I was going to get a takeout order, and they were packed at 12:30. It's still going good.
The Tice parking space, though, or
It's
parking
gone,
sign
yeah.
is long gone. Somebody's got that, and I don't know if Mike got that or what, but somebody's got that parking sign.
I think it's a sad thing that not only did he leave coaching, that then he kind of like he had a ton of money. I guess he was great in the stock market, and he's out in Seattle, right? But why didn't he ever end up on the air? Why did he end up on a? Was it if they were afraid to put him on the air?
I don't know. He kind of like half-assed launched his own YouTube channel and podcast maybe
Didn't
5 years
work
ago.
really well.
It was, but you know what it was? He wanted to talk about horse racing
Yes.
and very little about football.
No,
And I
he-
think
no.
so. It was like Mike Tice's odds and ends, like odds horse racing ends tight ends was kind of but no one really goes to YouTube to hear like in-depth horse racing talk. I don't know. Maybe there's a
boxing.
subgenre in there. Yeah.
We've had some great Viking coaches to deal with around here. Denny being an exception, and Chili much better than people gave him credit for. Later, the first year or two, he was bad. I talked to him the other day. He's doing great. We're going to go have lunch one of these days and tell war stories. But
Is he living in town?
yeah, he's living in town. Yeah, he's living
Still
in town.
got the place in Excelsior, I think.
Yeah, and he's done coaching, doesn't miss it, but he's he's okay. But I think Bud was hard to kind of deal with for a while, and now he became kindly old Bud. And Burnsy was the greatest, even though he'd tell you what a jackass you were at the drop of a hat. But he was still great. But Ticey was as good as it gets, man. Wasn't? Don't you think, Judd?
Oh, he was great.
Yeah.
Unless he was mad at you, because the problem is he'd screw you by calling your competitor and giving a scoop to the competitor because he was
Yes.
mad at you.
Well,
So
he
like
had
that was he
Sansamir.
was hard to cover in that way.
He had Sansamir for a while, right? So he could. Or was Sansamir off the beat then? Probably was.
He
Sansamir
was
was off
long
the
gone. He
beat
had
then.
Kent. He and Kent were tight.
Oh,
Youngblood.
and Kelvin, he had Seifert,
Yep.
but I'm sure he was mad at Sean half the time, right? Well, did he have Sean or didn't he have
He
Sean?
did have Sean, and he was mad at Sean a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yes, he
accurate.
was mad at John, but I love the guy, even though he would tell you what a jackass you were every once in a while. It was funny, and I called him Flaggy the coach one day, and he said, "Oh boy, you thought that was funny, didn't you? You thought that was because he." I love the fact, as we've talked about before, he used to challenge plays just because he didn't like the way it turned out. He had no
Yeah.
chance. He had no chance to have it
Zimmer started doing
overturned,
that.
but he just didn't like what happened, so he threw
He's
Joe
pissed at
throwing
his
challenge
defense,
play.
but really, yeah.
One of the 5 greatest moments in Viking history, though, is a game in Arizona when he's walking off the field, giving a big high finger to all the officials as he's walking because they got knocked out of the playoffs that game. And they, they, I think, do you think if that play was reviewed now like it was then, that would have been a touchdown?
That last play.
I
That
don't
last
think it
Well,
play?
would. It's
it's not a
subjective.
touchdown now because you can, if you are pushed out, that's it. So like
Mhm.
you can be pushed out. That was
No,
the
but I
old
mean,
rule.
but the old rule's still okay.
The
But
old
I
rule's
still,
gone.
I still think the guy was out of bounds before he got pushed out of bounds. But
Oh
maybe
yeah,
I was
maybe.
Oh,
wrong.
and that's why, yeah, that wasn't reviewable because it
Yeah,
was
back
subjective at the
then
time.
we didn't do that stuff, right? We didn't review that
How about
stuff.
that? How about that? You're asking an official, would he have been in bounds if the defense hadn't done its job here?
That was
Yeah,
the
Yes,
right.
smartest thing though.
touchdown.
If you get pushed
Yeah,
out, you're screwed. Like it was so stupid to be
Yes.
like, well, I think you would have landed in bounds if
Ah,
the guy
look like
hadn't pushed
that.
you out. No, if you get pushed
yeah,
out, you get pushed out.
yeah, yeah. That's anyway. Yeah. Well, I'm anxious to see the. We still haven't showed everybody what we're going to do on the kickoffs, right? Though,
Well,
even
I,
though we got two
Not
penalties.
really.
Yeah.
I don't think so,
Okay.
but I don't know. There's only so many things you can hide unless they're hiding like double reverses and different
Mhm.
blocking schemes. But they're definitely tinkering in these
Where
preseason games.
where are you guys with O'Connell? Do you think he's on a scale of 10? Is he an 8, 7? What do you think?
Judd?
You know, if if Tice was a 6, what's he as
Yeah.
far as a coach
Uh,
concerned, or 5 or 6?
yeah, I'd say Tice was more a 5. I'd say O'Connell's a 7.
Okay, yeah,
Like and I still need to see more, but he's done. You know what? He's done a pretty good job in the face of a typical Vikings training camp where just stuff starts to go
oh
wrong.
God,
He's
yeah,
done a
yes,
pretty good job of keeping it calm. In fact, Seifert asked him about that at his press conference yesterday, and he talked about, I have to be positive constantly. Sometimes I might not feel that way, but I have to like show that
yeah.
I'm positive. So I'd give him a 7 with a chance to move up, but I know some former Vikings coaches that wouldn't have handled the fallout of this training camp nearly as well as Kevin did.
Here's my problem with him. I think he's more of a guy's guy than he lets off. He's a just polite guy and he wants to be positive and all. But he can throw the F bombs around very good
Oh
on the
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sideline. And I wish we'd
yeah.
see that more. I mean, I don't want him to walk up to the podium and say, bleep you, but
You're
I'd
getting
like to see.
corporate Kevin at the
I'd
podium,
like
and
to
they're
see a little more fire of that fire we see on the sidelines when he's,
Yeah.
just talking about his team instead of, you know. But he's a lot like Rocco that way too. I mean, Rocco, if you can just talk to him, will say, tell you the truth. But he doesn't. He doesn't do it when the microphones are around. So
he's smart. I think Kevin is sometimes you're with Mike. You're like you said, he'll throwing a challenge flag because he doesn't like the result of a play, and he's kind of
yeah.
kind
Well,
of more of a meathead. Kevin feels like he's sharp, he's smart, he's perceptive, he connects really well with players. But
were you, Judd? Were you? This story's been told 50 times, but were you out there when they went to Green Bay and had all the lousy calls? Were you out there? Were you covering
No,
it?
No, I think that was before my time
the
on the
greatest
beat.
ever. They got a letter on Tuesday from the league that they'd missed 8. Tice had complained after the game how often they got screwed, right? And he got a letter saying there were 8 missed calls, and Tice comes storming into the press room and says, "Look at this," And then the next day, I think that was Sansevier and Seifert, probably was it? No, it wasn't Sansevier. It
Bill
was
Williamson.
Bill Williamson and
Big Bill.
Seifert.
Yep.
And both of them, big, yeah, he loved Big Bill. But Bill Williamson and Seifert both the next day after right. Mike Tice refused comment.
Yeah.
Even look at this. Look, I happened that's one of my rare times out there in the press room, and he comes in waving the paper from the
racquetball court too.
Yeah, at the racquetball court.
They converted a racquetball court in
which was a big improvement
room.
on the little room with the toilet in there, because you were about a foot away from the toilet writing, and then if somebody came in and had to do some serious business.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, that happened.
God.
And it
Like
was
the toilet was in a
good.
little room
Yeah, it
right
was right
behind
in
you,
there,
and you were like
and
up
it
against
wasn't
the.
soundproof either. It was
Oh,
not
no.
good. No,
You know what?
honest
You know.
to God,
You know what's
we're-
funny is the Target Field. So the bathrooms at the Target Field press box, the men's room door is open about, I'm gonna say 70% of the time. It's just propped open.
Mhm. Yes.
But anytime, and I've seen this happen numerous times with with team employees and even other media people, the moment I see that door close, I'm not going into that bathroom for at least a half hour.
Hey,
Something's going down.
Declan, you never were at the Metrodome when we had the
Oh
one.
God.
We had one bathroom. How would you like to be a young woman covering
God.
a baseball team and having 25 guys? They used to pack them in for that press box too. 25 guys having gone in there and the
gross.
Metrodome. For the football games, you had to go upstairs for the other one, but there was only one bathroom there. And,
Crime scene. So you'd have you'd literally have like you said, a packed press box with that one unisex bathroom, and of course guys are not courteous.
No.
And they wouldn't lift the seat. There would just be droplets.
Being the polite guy that I am, if I ever had to do something like that I didn't want to share with the public, I would go out and find one and walk down the hall and find one of the public toilets to do that rather than in that.
Wow, what a gentleman!
Yeah, what a good guy.
Hey, if what would a gentleman say to someone looking for a new car, Pat? What's the gentleman's recommendation?
My gentleman's recommendation is the Valley Group of GM dealers. Labor Day, always a key time for great prices for vehicles, new vehicles, and at Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers. Every Buick that you could possibly imagine, 4 different kinds of SUVs. They got a new station wagon that's fantastic. They got they got Sierra heavy duty trucks that people are looking for, and they have. I've been talking about the Hummer EV. I want to see. I'm going to have to call Jim Paul and say who's got one of these. I want to go look at it. Hummer. Not that I'd get one, but it has to be a hell of a vehicle. Anyway, the interest rates are great out there right now. 0.9, 1.9%. The full stock, great used cars too, by the way. I've bought several, family members and myself have bought several used cars from them, as well as all my new ones. And factory rebates are back too. So it's a much better time to buy a car now than it has been any time since the pandemic, because the months after the pandemic, we were short of stock and the prices were off the charts, and now the prices are back down, factory rebates are back, and good interest rates. So check them out. Hastings and Apple Valley, the Valley Group of GM dealers.
All right, big weekend for the Twins. Big homestand. Little week and a half homestand.
They won't pack the Cardinals. Judd and I were talking about this yesterday. The Cardinals won't pack them in like they did the last time they were here, and half the stadium was full because they're having, this is their second straight disappointing year, right? They were not good last year either. Greatest baseball town in the world, but I've seen some of their games, and A lot of empty seats. They scanned the crowd, and I'm sure they're still selling 25,000 season tickets or something. But and their attendance is not terrible what they announce in the paper, but they're not getting their usual turnout. But you got Caitlin here Saturday night, and you got the Cardinals here Saturday night, and you got a part of Iowa, down south part of Iowa. There's a lot of Cardinal fans, so you might have they might have quite a delegation of Iowegians here this weekend for sure. So watch a little baseball.
By the way, also
Watch
the White Sox officially mathematically eliminated from the
other day.
postseason
couple of days ago
on August 22nd.
South Side, pretty sad. South Side. Now they're going to have to worry about the
down.
Bears, I guess. So, but yeah, they were eliminated, but they won. They're up to 33 wins, I think now.
Beat the Giants a couple nights ago.
They're going to
31.
They're not going to 31. Though they're not going to equal the Mets. So the 40 and 120, they'll get in. They'll get into the 40s. Now the Mets had 2 rainouts that they never made up, so they were 2 games short. And I was hoping the Whiteys could like go 40 and 121 and beat them out, but I don't know. I don't think so. They're sneaking in a win here and there. How about Aaron Judge, by the way? My God.
48.
He and Soto are going to hit. Marison Mantle hit what? 61, and what Mantle hit that year?
Like
50,
55, 50, yeah, 50,
54.
yeah.
They're going to
Got
beat
hurt.
that. They're going to beat that. And of course, Marison Mantle had the cheap home runs in right field, but not this cheap. It was shorter down the line, but it didn't have the home run porch. Judge hit 2 pop-ups a couple of days ago. They were both home runs to right center field. He just, when you get in on his hands and pop him up, it's if he gets a pretty good swing on it, he's still going to hit a home run. But he's hitting the ball so hard, man alive. He's got loaded doubles too. It's amazing.
And poor Bobby Witt is sitting there with a 10.5 WAR season. He's not going to win MVP. I can't remember the last time we had 2 guys with 10+ WAR seasons in the American League.
Yeah, he's going to be second, and Soto's going to be third. Yeah, so it's pretty amazing what he is doing. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right, Pat. Well, enjoy a loaded sports weekend, and we'll
go on the yard tonight,
on
Reusse?
I might. I don't know. I got a column and a half left to write here, so I get it. But now that I'm awake after jumping in the pool,
right.
I'm ready to fly. Let's go.
Amen.
Let's
All right.
go.
See ya.
Amazing. All right, there he is. Reusse Unchained here, presented by Josh Arnold on Score North.